So Daniel Jones says, you might be surprised. We saw it all along. We're seeing something special out of Jonathan Taylor to this point. Most rushing touchdowns in the first 7 games of a season in Colts history. Head and shoulders your leader. Back in studio with the guys as we say hello to another hour, the two-time Super Bowl champs and Logan Ryan and Bryant McFadden, my lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones. And JJ, I go to you first, and something that was uttered just a couple snaps into this season. Daniel Jones, his performance, one of the top offseason signings of the year, and it's continued to be that way. The run game obviously starts this thing, but everybody confident around the quarterback right now.
Yeah, and you hedged just a little bit. One of the top offseason signings, I had a source tell me in week 1, the top offseason signing in the NFL. And right now, it's really hard to argue that, especially with the since and won Indianapolis Colts. Look, we always knew that Daniel Jones had the traits. That's why he was a top 10 pick coming out of Duke, going to the New York Giants. May have surprised some, but certainly Dave Gettleman, then the GM of the Giants, he saw something in him. And we saw it in his first 5 or so years with the New York Giants, just not consistently enough, right? But what happens when you remove someone who probably never needed to be in the New York market to begin with, and you put him in Indianapolis? What happens when you remove a lot of the reporters from the locker room? What happens when you have a head coach who kind of breathes more life into you and there's not constant turmoil around you? Well, you can show those traits more consistently. This has been a solid roster with the Indianapolis Colts. Chris Ballard knows how to draft and acquire big tight ends and wide receivers, go up, throw the ball up, and have a wide catch radius to sort of narrow your miss rate, if you will. But when you have a Jonathan Taylor running the way that he's running, and you have these guys catching the ball the way they're catching the ball, this is a field day for Daniel Jones.
I want to talk to my DBs here, because what makes this team difficult to defend right now, Mac? The run game is where it starts. The tight end is maybe the top target on this team. The verticality, it shows itself in moments, but why are teams having trouble playing downhill at the Colts right now?
Well, in terms of the pass catchers, it's always a physical matchup in their favor when you look at the size and the athleticism. You look at Michael Pittman, he's around 6'3", 6'4". You look at Alec Pierce, he's around 6'3", 6'4". You know, Warren is 6'5", 6'6", and they're extremely athletic. So now it's almost like pick the way you want to die if you're a defensive coordinator. Because if you stack the box, you know Alec Pierce is going to try to take the top off the coverage. You talk about what Tyler Warren can do against linebackers or safeties. And if you play coverage and try to keep the roof over the house, then you allow Jonathan Taylor to jump around your defensive front for 4 quarters.
See what you
so
did there.
it's a difficult matchup in terms of how well their skilled players are playing, but none of that means nothing, Logan, if their offensive linemen don't do what they've been doing. They have been the MVPs for their entire team's success, especially on the offensive side, when you look at how they dominate at the line of scrimmage. And right now, they're 6-1. We'd be remiss if we don't highlight the loss. Remember when they lost to Los Angeles there in SoFi Stadium weeks ago, there were 2 touchdowns that were called back. The A.D. Mitchell fumble and the holding call that negated that win. They could easily be undefeated right now in the NFL.
Look, I'm not going to say pick the way you want to die against them. It's not the greatest show on turf. I'm not going to claim them that quick as a defender in me. But what they're playing and how they're playing is consistent, and they're playing ahead of the sticks. And when you're a defensive, when you're a defensive coordinator, when you're a defensive player, you got to figure out if it's run or pass. Yeah. And when both are working, then you're chasing the game. When the running back is playing like the best running back in football, and your quarterback's playing as efficient as anyone in football, I was a teammate of Daniel Jones. This is what we believe in Daniel Jones as his teammate, how hard he worked, how he prepared. It wasn't working all the time on Sundays because he wasn't always healthy, and then the offensive line wasn't giving him time when he was healthy.
Yeah.
But when he wasn't healthy in New York, and he had a great run in the backfield with Saquon, you saw they went to the playoffs that year.
I'm glad you bring that up. Talk to me about his leadership style, because what we get from this side, it's not in your face, it's not loud, but there is a calm, quiet confidence to it. Is that what we see in a locker room as well from Daniel Jones?
He's definitely a lead by example guy. He's not a pregame speech guy. What you see on TV is what you get. He's not a rah-rah guy, but Daniel Jones is in the building at 4 a.m. He's a Kobe Bryant worker. He's the first one in the building. He's in there squatting weight, lifting weights with the DBs, with the running backs. He's leading the sprints in practice. He's not afraid to throw after practice. He's a guy that's showing you how bad he wants it. And I'm happy that it's paying off for him on Sunday.
And I know me and Logan had a discussion off camera. He's like, man, the Colts are really good. He's like, I'm waiting for them to kind of show me like they're not that good. But when you watch them play week in and week out, regardless against whoever the opponent is, they win in so many different different ways where it's like they can actually be one of the best teams in the AFC when you look at the offensive line and, to your point, Daniel Jones.
And also remember, Charvarius Ward, their big free agent signing, he's out with a second concussion in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They are still not all that healthy on defense, and I think we kind of saw that as the Chargers crept back into that game there in the second half. But again, credit to these Colts as they get healthy. If this is what they are, a couple of plays away from being undefeated through Week 7, look out.
33 points per game, pacing the NFL currently. We're offering credit to all of these places. JJ, how about the head coach in getting this to happen on time and in rhythm? Some places you have a bunch of talent, but you can't get it in the proper place. Credit to Shane Steichen here as well.
You know, what was interesting was there was a report a couple weeks ago that talked about how Anthony Richardson would like to go play for an elite play caller. And I'm not getting into the veracity of that report necessarily, but Shane Steichen is showing that he should be considered among the top play callers in the NFL, right? What he has been able to do with Daniel Jones, who, remember, if you're watching this, remember what you thought about Daniel Jones this time last year. Just recall what you thought, and then if I had told you a year from now he's going to lead the Colts to almost being undefeated, almost halfway through the season, you would have said, no, there's no way. So let's also credit Shane Steichen for what he is able to do, as they've also had a little musical chairs going on at wide receiver.
Mac, a quick closing thought here on LA, because it's a career high in passing yards for Justin Herbert out of necessity almost here. Spins it 55 times, but the absence of run game, how is it affecting who they want to be?
Well, they're missing Omarion Hampton, and the issue with that, when he went out with that injury, he's just started to find his rhythm within the offense, becoming the playmaker that we know he could be. But outside of not having the ability to run the football defensively, Jesse Minter has been known to be a quality defensive-minded coach. Today, he had no answer for the Colts. You look at the Colts, they had, 20-plus points at halftime. 20-plus points at halftime on the road. That's not winning football when you look at the mindset of the Chargers and what they've been known to be in terms of the defensive side. We just didn't really see that defensive rhythm ever get going for the Chargers that allowed Daniel Jones and the rest of his offensive mates to do whatever it is they wanted to do.
We got plenty more afternoon action coming to a head. Full highlights on the way here on HQ as you take a look at Indians Taylor & Co. Continue in the win column. And for more, we take you back out to LA, where the future Hall of Famer J.J. Watt joins our coverage. J.J., the run game, the run stop, the quarterback play. Where do you offer praise first here for the Indianapolis Colts?
You can't pick one spot. This Colts offense has no weaknesses right now. They can run the ball when they want to. They can throw the ball when they want to. Screens, play actions, they have everything going. And it all happens because of that offensive line. That offensive line deserves a ton of credit. They stay ahead of the sticks. They are almost never in a first down situation where they don't pick up 4, 5, 6 yards, putting them in second and manageable. They just do such an incredible job of moving their way down the field efficiently. And Daniel Jones is spreading the ball all over the place, and Jonathan Taylor's playing like a very, very legitimate MVP candidate.
They are dictating the terms right now, no matter who's standing across from them. The team on this day is the Chargers, who, I don't know if we want to call it identity crisis, but they've been dealt some injury issues to this point, JJ, and it seems like the identity has been affected for it. The lack of run game in this one. Yes, it's a chase game script, but 55 attempts for Justin Herbert, maybe not the winning formula. What do you see when you look at this run game specific right now, where they're coming up short?
I mean, when you talk about the Chargers, everybody has injuries, but they're on their 4th, 5th, 6th offensive tackles right now. And when you got a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who is such a weapon, but you're not able to drop back because you're not confident in your protection, it's very difficult to be the offense you want to be. Yes, they need to run the ball more, but also when they throw it, they have to be able to protect. And right now, they're not able to. They're desperately looking forward to getting Joe Alt back at some time, maybe Thursday.
All right, I want to go a little broader here on Indianapolis, because whether it be Daniel Jones or us not having seen them in the biggest games in some time, folks are trying to poke holes in the case, but to this point, they've been real. They've been spectacular, JJ. What makes them sustainable in your eyes when you look at Indy projecting down the stretch?
I think everybody has been trying to poke holes. Everybody's trying to find, when are they going to turn into the pumpkin? When is the other shoe going to drop? You watch this team play, you talk to them during the week, you hear their preparation. They're just efficient in everything that they do. They move the ball well. They can do it so many different ways. As a defensive coordinator, you sit there and you try and game plan for one thing, and then you're like, oh, wait, I have to think about Tyler Warren. Oh, wait, I have to think about the deep ball with Alec Pierce. Oh, wait, I have to think about Jonathan Taylor. There's just a million different ways that they can beat you. They know it, and they go out there and they execute flawlessly.
Efficient in his excellence as well. J.J. Watt, appreciate your time, pal.
Thank you. Have a great one.
All right, J.J. Watt joining us here on HQ on the tail end of another convincing Indy win. They're not just winning, they're hanging numbers.